Testing one, two. Good morning. How's everybody doing? The intro didn't come on. What was happening with the intro? The intro did not work. Man, I tell you, how you guys doing? Let me see if this intro will work again. Let's try. Let's try the intro. What happened to the intro? Let's go. Let's take it. It's not working. It's not working today. Huh. Anyway, well, welcome to Touch Base Daily. My name is Ron Foster, touching base with you as I do every day. So good to see everyone. And not sure why the intro did not work. It did not work. So anyway, how you guys doing today? There's a lot that has happened since we've last talked. And for those that are just here for the first time, this is our Motivation Monday. And so I got some motivation stuff for you guys. And also, I did post the Motivation Monday on our Patreon community for those who are Patreon members who help support what we do here. And yeah, it's a new day. It's a good day. It's a new day in the neighborhood. And I hope you're all doing well. Let me move my mic closer to me so that way you might be able to hear me better. I think we got it there. Okay, so I am all set. So we're gonna go into it. I want to hear what you have to say about what has happened in the world since we last connected. A whole lot has happened, and I want to know what you are thinking. What are you thinking about Venezuela and this whole what's going on in Venezuela? And you know that in this community, we had already talked about what the purpose of this was: oil and resources. We talked about this months ago in this community, even before they start talking about it in the streets. We talked about it here way before. And I am proud of that fact because this community is very sharp. And we knew it's not about drugs. It's not about drugs. And then it proved that it was not about drugs when you let off one of the worst drug dealers in the history, I should say in modern history, and you pardon him, and then you capture another illegally against international law. Anyway, we're going to go into that. We will talk about that. We will talk about that. And then we will leave on a good note. And again, if you are interested in joining in the conversation, you're more than welcome to pop on. Let me change this QR code out so that way you can have it. So the QR code will be representative right there, right on the screen. You can just click on it and then pop on if you want to, if you're in this community. Yeah, there we go. So there we go. Let me get that up here and join the conversation. There we go. You can join the conversation. There you have it. So yeah, so there's a lot going on in the world, and this is not good for, I like to use this word all the time. Geopolitical conditions in the world are going to shift and change, and it has not made us safer. It has made us more in danger globally. Anyway, let's get some good mornings in. Let's start off with some good mornings. The first person in the building is the wonderful Hannah Boyd Miller. She says good happy morning, Ron and Touch Space Daily family today. Yes. And she gets the gold. She gets the gold this morning. And in the silver, second place is Kelly A. Kelly A is in the building. She says, good morning, everyone. Hi, Hannah. And then we have third place, get the bronze, Tanya Moore, what's going on? Oh man, how are you? Long time no speak. And see, good morning, happy new year, she says. And next in bill is Christine, Miss Christine says good morning. And then the wonderful Kimmy says morning. And also Kimmy says, you don't look like you weave we live when I came on YouTube. And Jelly says, good morning, beautiful people. Happy New Year. And we have the wonderful GR Houston Jack. She says, good morning and Happy New Year. And we have the wonderful Omar is in the building. We are here. And if you're in the building, make sure you hit the like. That's how the algorithms know. It lets people know that we're here and that we are participating. Omar says, it's a sham. It's a doggone sham. And good morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, Elise is in the building. She says, good morning, everyone. Sunshine, sunshine, sunshine. GRG says, here are my thoughts. I've seen this before, and I'm just waiting for the bottom to fall out. Folks are going to hell. Gee, I'm with you. I'm with you. We've seen this story before. We've seen this script. Remember, anytime there's something going on, we saw it in the movie. Wag the dog, right? Wag the dog, right? So it's all about changing the narrative, but it's not going to change. We are still, as a country, want to know what happened in those Epstein files. Here we go. What happened in those? And another deadline was supposed to happen this weekend. But notice what was happening. Distractions. This is all distractions. Distraction and greed and being opportunistic. Am I saying it right? Opportunist? Opportunist. They're being opportunist. Gotta get the word out. Sorry about that, y'all. I got marbles in my mouth. Jetty says, my thoughts on what's going on in Venezuela is very GOP/US of us. Jazzy, I love it. Yes, indeed. And Jazzy says, good morning, Elise. Good morning. I see all the good mornings back and forth. We have definitely seen this before, says Elise. We in agreement with Gwendolyn. Jazzy says, not for nothing, but since I've been alive, every Republican administration has gone to war over oil. I would say I was surprised, but I'll be lying. Isn't that the fact? Isn't that the fact? But this is a little different twist to it, and we're going to talk about this twist. I see that. Good morning, right? Also, G says, Miss Elise, and none of this foolishness to going to make American lives better. Not one bit. This is not, first of all, let me just kind of talk about that statement. America, these fools that are in leadership, that are in the administration, they cannot take care of America. They can't pass legislation. They can't pass bills. They can't come up with good ideas. They can't do anything for this country, for the people of this country. And they think they're going to do something for Venezuela. But again, we all know, we've been talking about it. It's all about the oil. They could care less about the people of Venezuela. Do you really think they care about Venezuela? And people in this community, we all know they could care less. They could care less. This is all about oil. It has always been about oil. Taking back. He said, we're taking back. Taking back. Venezuela is a sovereign nation. It has its own leadership. It has its own people. It has its own resources. And just because the companies like Chevron, I think it's Shell, and a couple of other oil companies were kicked out of Venezuela years ago. This is like decades ago. Like we're talking about the 1970s. We're talking about the 1970s. And they were compensated for it. So it wasn't like they were just thrown out. They were thrown out. I should say they were asked to go out. Venezuela wasn't focusing on their oil. And also because of some political things that were going on. And they asked them to leave. And they compensated those oil companies. So it's been said. Allegedly. Yeah. Lee says, we have seen this in real life over and over again. The Republicans always love war. They love war. It is all about financing the rich. G says, crazy how they are still using we want to bring democracy to others when they're actively suppressing voting here. Isn't it mind-boggling? You're talking about someone saying we want to bring democracy when the Republican Party is destroying democracy in America. It's like an oxymoron. It's like the king has no clothes. They are so in their stupor, they can't see that they're naked. They think they're clothed. They think they're wearing the best digs to the ball. Meanwhile, they have no clothes on. The hypocrisy. The hypocrisy. Elise says, exactly, G. The U.S. will not be any better. This is not going to make it better. As a matter of fact, it is already making things worse. Look how many countries are now saying, and I have to be looking at international movements and trends. I mean, because I plan to be a nomad overseas. But that is becoming more dangerous for Americans to travel around the globe. Because of this fool. Kimmy Kim says, when DT started talking on that press conference, all the other officials started shifting and looking down or away. It was horrible. Saturday, I got to hang out with, Adrian. It was a family time. We went to brunch together on Saturday. We had a great time hanging out with the boys, which are now men. Both of them were together, hanging out. And we had a great time eating, talking. But Adrian and I had to go into our politics because that's how I roll. It's my thing. And so, but that press conference was the worst. First of all, he knew nothing what he was talking about. And the thing that he knew he was talking about was the things that he already had programmed in his head. And so as the press conference was going on, I was interjecting in between the paragraphs exactly what he was saying. And so Adrian and I, as we were watching this, and I said, the sad thing about this speech, which took forever, when you have usually the press conference after an invasion or some kind of whatever, like it's usually on and off. You're done. This thing lasted forever with nothing. They said nothing but the obvious. At least the obvious to those that know history, those that know what's going on. Remember, I mentioned to you around Thanksgiving, when I was in Puerto Rico, I saw the buildup of the troops in our hotel. I was like, where are all these troops coming from? And then I heard that they had opened up the base in Puerto Rico again, which was closed for like almost 25 years. And I said, you do not spend this kind of money just to just to for drugs. We knew, but we knew early on it was all about oil. We knew. And if you read between the lines, he kept saying it over, and then eventually just said it. Eventually he just said it. He just said it. Kimmy says he always says too much. Too much. Jen says this whole thing is giving straight colonizer behavior. How many of you guys know about the Monroe Doctrine? The Monroe Doctrine. So when I talked to Adrian about it before, when we talked about the Monroe Doctrine. I do believe it's 1823. Monroe Doctrine was pretty much kind of like outlined and put into practice. The Monroe Doctrine, which is America set up in 1823, the Monroe Doctrine to protect America from colonization of other places around America, like the Caribbean islands or South America, or if Canada was going to be colonized or above. It was to protect America from colonization in the backyard of America. Now, over the years, presidents have played with the Monroe Doctrine, as in, we should be controlling the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, South America, Central America. That was the thought. The Latin countries. So they dibble and dabbles over the years. You see invasions from different presidents, mostly under Republicans, going into different countries, taking over certain parts of the country, doing different things, doing covert operations. This Monroe Doctrine has been lifted up and then put it back away. Lifted up, put it back, put away. However, this moron, obviously someone sat down with him and said, the Monroe Doctrine. We could own the whole Western Hemisphere. And he, in his small little brain, doesn't realize that why the Monroe Doctrine was created in the first place. It had its place. It had its place. But then other people used it to further or try to further colonization from America on the Latin countries in the Western Hemisphere. And you see all kinds throughout the history laid out, all of the things that America has gotten into with Cuba and all these places. Right? The Monroe Doctrine was also pulled out when Kennedy used it, slightly used it when he was saying, hey, wait a minute, Russia, you cannot put missiles in Cuba. No, you cannot. And we talked about this here also, that this is not just about oil. It is about oil, but it's not just about the oil. You do not put battleships, a aircraft carrier. You do not shift all of your military globally and move them into the Caribbean, even just to topple a government. You don't need it. America could just do it. I mean, really, think about it. The military might. The military might. However, what we do know that has been happening, same thing in the Panama Canal, they are worried. And there's some thought of how we should be worried on some levels about this, is that Venezuela was also in conversations with Russia and China. So they do not want Russia and China in our backyard. And on top of that, getting the oil, because Venezuela cannot survive without using their oil. Even though they don't sell a lot of oil, when you think about how much oil they have, they do not sell as much oil as they have in their reserves. Even with taking this oil, it's going to take years to bring it into the system. These oil wells and oil places have been shut down for decades. Decades. Elise, I like this. This is not even about Russia as much as it is about China. Listen, I mean, think about that. I like Elise said that. Russia is already in the White House. Already in the White House. Trump is Russia. One day we're going to find out what that thing or those connections are. Everything that's in the dark will come to light. Everything. But this is also Trump's small reptilian brain thinking he can own the Western Hemisphere. And for him to go out and say in that speech, the Donroe Doctrine was absolutely ludicrous as ludicrous could be. I mean, for him to even say, well, no longer the Monroe Doctrine, but it's the Dawn Doctrine, people are calling it. No, he's the only one calling it that. And he does not realize, as he was doing what he was doing, has set off all kinds of warning bells across the globe. America is less safe. We keep saying that every day about this guy. Every day, America becomes less safe in the world. You have now Canada saying we have to now think about America invading us. We now have to seriously think about America invading Canada. So the Canadians have now teamed up with the Europeans, teamed up with Ukraine, learning how to use drone warfare so they can now have the proper drone technology to fight against the United States. Who would have ever thought our closest friend outside of the UK would be thinking about an invasion from the United States to Canada? The whole globe is going to be it's shifting. Now, this opens the doors, because now you just gave Russia the consent that Ukraine go to not only take Ukraine, take it all. Take Ukraine, take Poland, take Germany, take it all. You can have all of Europe. It's all yours. And you know what? China, you can have the Pacific. It's all yours. You can have the Pacific and Africa. It's all yours. I was reading this weekend about Trump, Putin, and Xi dividing the world up into 3 different parts. And they will rule over those 3 parts. And as long as they don't get in each other's way, allegedly. And Trump, in his little reptilian brain, because he has dementia, not that people have dementia, have reptilian brains. He has a reptilian brain. He cannot get off the subject of Greenland. Greenland had to send out a letter this weekend on Sunday, after that hijacking, kidnapping, or taking a leader in the middle of the night, and said, you must stop talking about taking Greenland. In his reptilian brain, he still doesn't understand that Denmark is the controller of Greenland. Denmark is a NATO nation. Man, that's a great Monday morning, isn't it? It's a great morning. Jenny says, people don't understand the lasting ramifications that this man is causing. She says, it's insane. Our neighbors and allies shouldn't be on watch. Can I say that again? It's insane. Our neighbors and allies shouldn't be on watch. Kimmy Ken says, I heard that about this notion of 3 empires. Yes. See, Kimmy, we're reading. This is out there. This is a thought that Xing will have his, Putin will have his. He will get to bring back the Soviet Union, which he's been dying to do. And America will mind its business and will do nothing over in those parts of the world to help. America will now focus on creating an American empire. That's why he came with the whole idea of the Gulf of America, because he believes that he is going to complete the Monroe Doctrine, because he doesn't understand the Monroe Doctrine, to own everything that is in the Western Hemisphere, the Americas, and Greenland. This is one of the thought processes that is happening in our world right now as we speak. Dr. Tachi's in the morning, in the building. Good morning, Dr. Tachi. So it's something to keep your eyes on. If you have relatives and family and friends, unfortunately, the Caribbean airspace has been shut down. So people are stranded in different parts. Airlines are not going into the Caribbean because of the military presence. So people are stuck in Puerto Rico. People are stuck in the Virgin Islands. People are stuck all over the Caribbean. They can't leave. They're supposed to come home from work from the holidays. They can't get out. They're stuck indefinitely. There's no dates of when they're going to be able to leave these countries. They're stuck in the Caribbean. They're stuck in Barbados. They're stuck they're stuck everywhere in the Caribbean islands. Omar says, it's a scary stuff. It really is. It really is scary stuff. Jazzy says, the Mayans predicted the world was going to end in 2012. There was a documentary about it. Basically, what they believed was the world order was going to change. That's happening right now. Omar says, really nowhere to hide. Think about that. There's nowhere to hide. For common folks, for sure. You have to be like a billionaire to be able to run. And still, as we learned from Putin, you could be an oligarch and he'll just take you out. So just because you have money, this is why it was so stupid of rich people in America to yield to Trump. They don't know history. They don't follow history. All of the strong men that try to be dictators always take out the rich people. They unalive them, right? They unalive them. They don't, hey, you're rich. No, because now they're in power. They can control their money. They can stop their money. Look at what Putin has done to the oligarchs in Russia. You either get with the program, or I'm taking your wealth, taking it all, or taking it all, imprison them, or even better, better, but even to the most extreme is he unalives them, allegedly. Jazzy says, I wish I could remember the name of the documentary, but it was on the History Channel. And literally, what is happening right now is what they said was going to happen. I showed a clip from, oh my gosh, what's the show? Ryan. What it was on prime time, and is by Tom Clancy, and the opening show talks about Venezuela to the T. I posted, I did I sent it on my stories, put out on my stories, like reposted it, and none of this is new to those of us who stay in tune to global politics. I always say I know it's important to know what's going on in America, but it's more important, is just as important to know geopolitical climates around the world. You have to understand, once you understand what's going on globally, you have a better understanding of what's happening locally or domestically. This is a race for the resources. You know, Mad Max and all these Thunderdome, or all the old movies that kind of like predict the strange, crazy world that we're in, sci-fi. We have to be alert on all levels. You have to take time. You know, it's like my mom used to do when and my aunt used to do with my cousins, is that we had to read the New York Times. Now, I'm not saying the New York Times is where it is back then, but we had to read every Sunday. If we didn't read any newspaper any time of the week, we had to read the New York Times. We had to read the New York Times on the weekends. It was a practice in our family that you have to read the news at least once a week. So here we go. Let me just get rid of this little guy. Let me get rid of that one. Yeah. And then next time, if not, we'll just ban. But it's again, we are living in this is all a time for resources. And a lot of the major nations are after the resources. Thank you, Elise. Octavia Butler wrote about these times. Speaking of Octavia Butler, that should be if there's a series of books, if there's an author of publications that we should be reading in this day and age, I know Elise is always sharing about Octavia Butler. For those that like to read, and you want to, and you kind of like understand or want to understand where we are in the world, and you want to get a person's, I always say, being able to see the future, Octavia Butler. I made a promise to myself that I would this year dive into all of her work, not just one, not just two books, but I need to know all of her works. I need to follow it. I need to get in there and dive into it. And there's a bunch of authors out there that really give insight. Jazzy says, I was thinking about the fact that we really put people in charge to create chaos for us. I want out of this timeline. Is it true? Think. Could we We all know about the country, this history of our country. The history of our country is Republicans break it, Democrats fix it. But then Americans always like to go to the broken, go back to being broken. It's like an abused person and keeps going back to its abuser. Why do Americans go back to, well, we all know, we know a lot of reasons why they do it. But it's the insanity is to go back to the Republicans who create wars, spend money on wars, instead of spending money on its people that don't want infrastructure, don't want hospitals, don't want health care, don't want good roads, don't want education. They vote against everything good for humans, humanity. And I speak as a former Republican. Why do people go back to the trough that is poisoned? You have to one day wake up and say, enough. You have to say enough. I mean, I'm obviously not talking to our crew, but there's people that are going to see this video and they keep passing through and in. Some people that don't want to hear it, and some people that have their, there's people that, the core people in this community, we already know this stuff. But really, why do Americans go back to the poison trough? It repeats itself over and over and over. We had a financial meltdown, 2007, 2008. Then Americans, wait a minute, I'm going to pick that black guy because I want my money. And they put Obama in. His administration, the Obama-Biden administration, saved the automobile industry, did all the things they needed to do, gave us our wonderful health care. Yes, it had problems. It wasn't perfect, but every American had health care. Now, insurances are up because now you can't ban it and get rid of something, you destroy it from within. So now, think about all the health care. Think about all the health care that is going to be so expensive for Americans now. So much health care is going to be expensive. They were showing all these families, people that were wealthy, people that were called upper middle class or lower wealthy. This one family was making what I think it's on one of the shows this morning, and it was talking about the family is a very well-to-do family, but now their insurance is $40,000 is going to be for just 2026. Their house income is $100,000 or something. I do believe it was $100,000, and $40,000 is going to have to be dedicated to healthcare. Well, I don't know why. Why do Americans go back to things for their own demise? Jelly says, Lisa, fortunately, Congress is not going to do that because Congress is controlled by the very people that align with this administration. The Republican, you got Republican Congress, Republican president. And I say Congress because that represents the Senate and the House. Why? Why do we do this over and over again? G says, as my friend Joe said, upper middle class is just the working poor with access to credit. I love it. Yes. And Lisa says, Jazzy, but it's their job. They are supposed to be aligned to the American people. That doesn't exist anymore. Unfortunately, Lisa. Okay. What time is it? 11:43. Okay, so enough of that, though. I just want you to stay focused on it. This is, you're gonna have to see what's going on globally. You're gonna have to also this year, as leads, we always talk about in this community, we are going to have to educate our family, educate the people around us, our neighbors, our friends, our platforms to what? Get ready to vote. Because you know what? At the end of the day, I know, yes, the Republicans are going to try whatever they can to soften the votes or to, be illegal or, scam and prevent people from voting properly. But if we vote in overwhelming numbers, it won't matter. Our job is to get out there and tell people to vote. We need to encourage people to vote and to vote on the issues. Lisa, from Elise, they have not been doing their job all year. That's right. They have not been in Congress to be doing their job all year. Jazzy says, Lisa, I know, but it's also their job to fund the government. But you see where that is. We're probably about to go into another government shutdown at the end of the month. Just put a pin in that. That's right. Put a pin. Put a pin in there. Jazzy, and Lisa says, Jazzy, yes, another government shutdown is deathly coming because what they did prior was just a teeny tiny Band-Aid. Also, she says, people with the means need to start securing buses and rides for the elections. They're already ruined mail-ins, so everyone needs to vote in person. Bryson says, what's up, Ron? What's up, everybody? Happy Money Making Monday. Sorry that I'm late. Okay, so here we are. This is where we are. So, guys, I bring that up. Obviously, you guys know we've already been talking about that. I mean, I'm preaching to the choir. And so we have to get out there, vote. We have to set a game plan for this year to really help our neighbors, to educate them. We cannot just sit on the sidelines and just think and assume because they're, because they live in our household that they know. We got to talk about it. We have to educate the people around us. And so, okay, I think we got that. I think got that in a nip in the bud. I've been working on something for you guys. That's before we go to the Motivation Monday, I have something that I wanted to share with you guys, and I forgot to bring it to the back. Give me just 1 minute. Give me less than a minute. And I'm back. And I am back. So I've been working on a project, and I had to work for quality, as they call quality control. I had to examine it and also have some friends examine it before I put it out into the world. And so, yeah, it's here. It's here. Can you see it? Can you see it? Oh, you know what? There we go. There we go. It's the Flamingo calendar. Lisa, you're proud of me, right? I know you are. So this is the new calendar release, and it has lots of pictures of my favorite flamingos. There we go. Oops, there we go. Let me get that right in there. So here we go with the flamingos. And so I wanted to make sure everything was good. All the pages were nice. All the pictures were beautiful. Hold on a second. Let me get that in there. So there we go. The Flamingo calendar for 2026 is finally here. Check it out. You can just get that at the website. And I'm going to take you to the website because I've been playing around on the website too. So let me just get that on the screen so you can check it out. And so this is something I've been working on diligently. And I didn't realize I want to tell you a story that you're probably like, what, Ron? I can't believe that. But It did happen. So I didn't realize on my I went into my page here, I should say my website, and I redid my website last year. So I spent a lot of time redoing everything, spent like 4 days straight, kind of like locked down to redo my website. And I didn't at the time really use my store like I was properly using this. Like I was on Etsy. So I was using Etsy for for my store. And I was like, okay, Etsy was taking too much of my money and not giving me the service that I thought I should be getting for the money I was spending to be on their platform. And it wasn't generating sales like I thought it should be generating. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to scrap Etsy as a business decision and move my products to my own website, which I finally did. So one of my friends, close friends, wanted to surprise me on Saturday and said, Ron, I can't check out of your store. And I was like, what do you mean you can't check out the store? He goes, I keep getting this little like black thing spinning. And I was like, what do you mean? He says, I can't check out. And so for the whole day of Saturday, we kept trying to figure out what was wrong with the website checkout. So the store checkout. I'm going to show you the store in a moment right now. Let me take you to the store. And we went through every setting. It was setting after setting after setting. And let me just make sure I'm in the right place. Yeah, okay. So we went from setting to setting to setting. And so this is the store, right? And it was saying I couldn't check out. So it kept spinning. Eventually, finally, by the middle of the evening, it dawned on me that not only did I redo my website, right? I redid my website. Squarespace also redesigned the website. So they redesigned their whole platform. So in doing so, I either did not get the notice, but we got knocked out of our POS systems that we were using in the old Squarespace. So I had never redid my POS system because even in the website is setting up the store, you don't see the POS any longer. It doesn't see POS. It just says checkout. So I had to go back and say, wait, it has to be the checkout. So I went in, did the checkout, and it was the checkout because they want you to use their checkout instead of Square, right? I had Square set up as a checkout, but now they want you to use Squarespace checkout, their checkout to their website. Long story short, that was the problem. And then, so one of my other friends who's an accountant wanted to know exactly what was going on my platform. And he says, Ron, how many visitors do you get into your store? And I said, let's check the analytics. So you know me, I'm always about the analytics. And I said, this is really sad because my store gets about 600 to 700 visits per month. And I sat there and said, wait a minute, these people may have been trying to purchase all of these months. And I did not know that I had a problem in my checkout. And I think Dr. Tachi mentioned it, I think a week ago. And so anyway, I sat there and said, for those who have websites, it is not enough to just slightly maintain them. You really have to stay on top of everything. I'm using this for those of you who want websites and who need websites, make sure you stay on top of especially if you have a store. Because not only that, they change everything about the store, as in how you interact with customers. And I really do love what they've done. And so now if you look at the page, like this is my store. So now what I've done, I've transferred all of my downloads that used to be on Etsy now live here on my store. So now you can get downloads of my photos. If you don't want to order the framed photos, like for like the gallery stuff, then you can actually download all these photos now because they're no longer on Etsy. They're all here. And now you can download them and you can print them out anywhere you want at a nation's photo lab, CVS, Walgreens, different places that print, Staples, and you can just take it and then now create your own, take the photo and then use the photos the way you need to use them in your home. You mean you can get your own frame, create your own frame, how big you want them. They go up to, these downloads go up to 24 by 36. So that's a pretty nice size. And you can put them on your wall. So spend a lot this whole weekend redoing this store and getting it all together for you guys. And for people that want to browse around in there, here's the calendar is here as well. There's the calendar right there. And then you have all the other stuff, right? So the other stuff. So the downloads say download, so that way it makes it easier for you guys. And then the other stuff is there for like the hard framed photos, gallery type stuff. But it's all here. I'm going to be adding more photos every day to the store. But here you have it. Which brings me to my next point, is that if you are part of the Patreon community, you got a promo code to be able to buy anything in the store at, I think, 20% off with the code for the Patreon members. So if you're a Patreon member, that's all Patreon members. However, if you are in the sky blue tier of the Patreon page or the Patreon community, the sky blue tier and above up to black now you have a free download. You now have a free download. So make sure you go check your email. You have a free download for the higher tiers who support what we do here. And I'm telling you, you guys are amazing. And so I want to make sure I give those gifts back. So you can find that on the Patreon page. If you have not been to our Patreon page, you can click on the Patreon QR code. I just changed it. So you can just go to the QR code, scan that QR code, and go straight to our Patreon community. And that's where you'll find all of a lot of our conversations, our touch base dailies, our tip Tuesdays, our motivation Mondays, and little things that are happening. And it will be more, it's going to be more in use this year because I'll be traveling and sharing things around. I'll be sharing places from different parts of the globe. And a lot of it will be to the Patreon community. That's the first tier of how I will be sharing. The second tier is obviously our Touch Base Daily community because they kind of go hand in hand. And then the rest of the world. Okay, so that's where life will live on the Patreon page. Lisa says, dang it, I got demoted. No download. You can always become blue sky. So I just say sky blue. Sky blue. The sky blue level folks are the ones that contribute $20 or more a month. And so they are getting a free download for this year, celebrating the new year and saying thank you for last year. And also just to say it was so good to be able to put money aside because I'll be in the art exhibition. I'll have more information on it tomorrow. But our community, our Patreon community, supports the creating of the work that's going to be 5 photos that is going to be an exhibition in the Lower East Side gallery, the Jennings Gallery in the Lower East Side in Alphabet City in New York City. Opening February 7th. And also there will be lots of other photographers and their work there as well. And Howard Cash and Jamel Shabazz, I do believe, are working to support it. They are the ones that are creating it. And I've been asked for 5 of my pieces to be in the show. And so that will be happening. But you guys were able to, the Patreon community paid for the processes to get it all done. So thank you again for the Patreon community, because that's what the Patreon community was really originally set up for, is to not only just do Touch Base Daily, but also to do artwork and all the stuff that we do here as an artist. And so I see some folks in the building. Cool. So are you guys ready for our Motivation Monday quote for the day? And this one is, so let's get out of here on a good note. Motivation Monday. Again, this is our Patreon page. For those that don't know where this comes from, we have a Patreon page. And today's message is in shifting and changing times. In shifting and changing times. Motivation Monday. Let me see if I can pop that up on the screen. Is that going to be too big? No, it fits perfectly. Okay, that's my quote. In shifting light, new stories are born. Every change is just another frame waiting to be captured. And then expand. Here we go. Every week begins with a shift in light, in energy, in us. And that's the gift. As photographers and creatives, we know better than anyone that a change in light doesn't end the story. It reveals a new one. Every transition, every unexpected turn, every moment that feels unfamiliar is simply another frame waiting for your eye, your courage, your voice. You know that, right? Y'all know that. You know, we photographers, we go out with one thought to get out into the streets, especially street photographers. We have our mind set on that light, how that it's supposed to look. And conditions can change just like that. We must be ready for the change. Here we go. So as this Monday opens its doors, lean into the shifts. Adjust your focus with intention. Let the changing light guide you instead of unsettling you. There's a lot going on in the world. We got to lean into it, y'all. There's a lot going on. But guess what? We cannot be moved. We can't let it ruin us. We can't let it destroy us. Yes, shifting sands, changing times, the moron in the White House, those that follow, and just things in everyday life. We deal with shifting sands every day, every week. The light change every day, every week. There's beauty emerging in places you haven't looked at yet, and stories forming in the spaces between what was and what's becoming. So this week, your motivation homework. Step into the week knowing this: you are the storyteller, the frame maker, the one who turns transitions into art. And your community is right here. We are right here, capturing the journey with you. And you can find that in our Patreon. That is our Patreon message this week for our Patreon community and for all those that are there. Okay? So, guys, we are living in a shifty world. It is shifty. It is changing. And it is unexpected. But guess what, y'all? We're going to make it. We are going to make it, because this is not the first time we dealt with shifting sands and changing times. No, this is not the first time. This whole thing of going on in Venezuela, we've been here before. Like, I want to hear your thoughts, and you guys exactly landed it. You landed the plane today, or this morning. You landed the plane. and you knew, wait a minute, we've seen this script before. We know what's going on. We're not strangers to this. But just like in life, your creativity is shifting too. But lean into it. Let these shifting times make you a better photographer, make you a better artist. Think about new messages you can share with people through your art. It's always the artists that get us through hard times. It's the music that people create during hard times that we sing along to. It's the art that we see from times that were hard that make us stand in awe and look at that beautiful piece of artwork. And photography from old, and we look at the photos from Martin Luther King and that era, when we think about the photography of the protests during COVID, it makes us pause and think, and it makes us a lot of time, those photos, that art makes us stronger in today. So we've been here before, and we are creatives. We're photographers. We're artists. We're musicians. We create, and we are able to deal with the shifting times. You are going to make it. We're going to make it. Jazzy says, lean into the shift. I can admit I'm a work in progress. And Tanya says, there we go, Tanya. Look at that. Oh, it worked today, y'all. It worked. Well, maybe. There we go. It worked. Doesn't usually cooperate with me. And then I see the hands. Lean into it, guys. We're going to lean into it. We're going to make this work for us. We're going to be better at what we do. Kelly says, thank you, Ron. First day back to work from the holidays. So I'm in and out of the conversation, but we got you. We got you here. Motivation Monday. And there we are. Okay, guys. Let me give you some, there we go. Let me get those banners up there. And one is continue to connect with, there we go. Connect in our community on YouTube. We are right there, so you can be a part of that. And let me just get this off the board there. Thank you. And then also, if you would like to, you can go to our website, Ron Lewis Photos, which I've been talking about today. So you can do that. Go to Ron Lewis Photos, and you can check out our page and sign up for our email list. I think I'm going to do much more emailing and newsletters this year. I tried last year. I got 2 out last year. I was supposed to get more, but we're going to keep trying. We try to get better at it. And also, if you're looking for an event photographer, I am an event photographer. Just go to ronlewisphotos.com to reach out to me, and I can help you out. And again, thank you to our Patreon members. Your support helps us create amazing content. If it wasn't for our wonderful Patreon community, we would not be doing what we do here. Also, last but not least, join, or if you have not, join and subscribe to our YouTube channel here. We are here to support you. Okay, it takes a community to create this. It takes a community to make this all happen. And so I am forever thankful to everyone that keeps us doing what we do here. And thank you so much. Guys, have a wonderful day. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about photography tips on how to photograph your family. We're going to be talking about tips on photographing your family. And that should be fun. Okay, guys? Talk to you later. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Why is that doing that? Let's try it again. There we go.